Hi everyone, in this video we are going to learn 3 different ways of creating SVG icons for our Power BI reports. The SVG icons like this, or even like this. These icons, they help us to uplift the look and feel of our reports and give more meaning to our reports. So let's get started. The first and the easiest way to create SVG icons is the repositories that are available on the internet, and we can download them from the websites and use them in our reports. One of my favorite websites is SVG Repo, which has more than 500,000 open licensed SVG vectors and icons. And it has a lot of free icons which you can use in your Power BI reports without any problem and without any kind of copyright. The main thing that I like about this website is that you can edit the SVG before you can download that. So for example, I have this report in which I'm using this kind of arrow with green or red colors, or this kind of arrow with green and red colors. What I do basically is that I create that before I download that. So in case if I have to do it, I will simply type arrow, for example, and I will search for those icons that I want to download. So let's say I want to download this one. Okay, so the good part in this website is you go to edit vector, and now you can change the icon size as you please. Whenever I'm using the icons, I always make it 64 pixels because even it's like smaller than this that I use. And then you can also adjust the thickness, as well as you can adjust the color before you download that. Although as we know that we can download and then change the color as we please, but this is just an option. So for example, if I want to change it to red, I can either try here. If it doesn't work, then it would surely work here. Okay, and also what we can do is that we can rotate it. For example, this is for green, so if I want something like 288547, this is just a green color, right? So this is for the upward icon, and if I want the downward icon, I can simply type this, rotate this, and then I can export it. What I can also do is that I can create some kind of shapes. For example, if I want a square background, or if I want a hexagon or a circle, you know, these kind of things. So I just go like this and export it. Now I'm going to export the SVG, and this is it. What I need to do as the second step is I can either ask ChatGPT to help me with that, or it's a very quick and easy way that I can do manually. But it depends on you. It's totally up to you whether you want to use ChatGPT or you want to use the manual method. So for example, here I have this arrow circle. I will edit that with Notepad. I like to use Notepad++ because this is better. And view word wrap. Okay, I will copy this SVG, and now I will go to ChatGPT and I'm going to write, can you create a DAX measure enclosing this SVG that I can use in Power BI? Just give me the final DAX measure and do not explain the steps. I write this, copy this and paste it, and then let's see what happens. It's creating the measure. Now it has created this measure. What we are going to do is to copy it, go to our Power BI file and create a new measure. Now there is one thing that ChatGPT always misses, and that is basically this part. So you have to copy it. This is data image SVG plus XML UTF-8, and then you enter. Now what you have to do is to make it image URL, and let's just drag it in here to see if that worked. Yes, it worked. Okay, and what you can do basically is let's copy and call it red arrow. So this is one of the easiest ways to create an SVG icon, that you first download it from the website after you edit the vector, in case if you want to change the color or you want to make any kind of changes. The second step is that you copy this SVG code. The third step is that you go to ChatGPT and ask it to enclose that in the DAX measure. And that's it. That's very simple. That's the first method. Another website which is very helpful is Hero Icons. This is also giving us the SVGs, and you can use that using this first method. The other point that I like about this website is that you can get the Figma file. So when you click on the get Figma file, what you will have is this kind of Figma file. Okay. In case you haven't explored Figma, I would highly suggest that you go and explore Figma, because that is a very handy tool when you want to create a lot of visual effects in your Power BI report. So here in this file, what you see is all of these icons, they are arranged according to their sizes and the styles. Okay. So in case if I want to get any of these icons, let's say I want to get this box icon, archive box, and what I have to do is that when I come to this Figma file, all of these are grouped. I'll click here, double click again and again and again and again till I reach this icon. The next part is I will copy this, and then I can go to any file, any blank Figma page, and I can paste it. Now this SVG is here, and I can play along with this SVG. For example, if I want to change the color, let's say 00CC00, so I can change the color. Okay. Or I think I can, if I can change the weight. No, I cannot change the stroke for that. Okay, so this is a very simple method. The second method that you can use for the SVG icons, and this is something that you should not be doing commercially, because most of the websites have copyrights for their SVG icons. But in case if you are working on a private project or something that is not to be used commercially, you can also get the inspiration from the websites. Again, it's just a method that I'm showing, but it's not something that you should be doing commercially. So for example, if I want to get this extra baggage icon, what I need to do is right click, inspect, and once this bar opens, here we can see that the SVG, it's displayed, right? So what we have to do is we copy this, copy element, and then paste it in the notepad file. Okay, we've got this, and now I will show you the method which you can use without the help of ChatGPT, and that is basically you will once you have copied this, you will select the double quotation marks and you will replace it with a single quotation, replace all, and now you have to copy it again. You go to your this one. Okay, let's create a new measure and let's call it SVG underscore baggage icon equal to, we paste this thing and close it in the double quotation marks, and then we have to bring this thing. Okay, now we go to baggage icon, image URL, and now let's bring this one. There it is. Now in case if you want to make it bigger, what you have to do, Control C. Now you have to go to ChatGPT and you can write, can you modify this DAX expression for SVG so that the SVG is double the current size. Okay, and then you're going to paste it and then wait. Looks like it's doing the magic. Copy, paste it here, and now you can see that it's double the size. Okay, and in this way you can increase the size as much as you want. In case if you want to change the color, again, let's go in the baggage icon, and if we have anything which is called fill, which is somewhere here, so let's do it like this, and now it's blue. So this is the second method, that you can download it directly from the websites, but again, I'm saying that it's not recommended because it can have the commercial copyrights. The third method that you can use is basically create your own SVG icons. For example, here we have created 4 different SVG icons, and we will see how to create one of them. And what they are showing essentially is the order status. So for example, here the order has been placed, then it has been packed, it has been shipped, and then it has been delivered. So once we place that in our report, it's going to improve our reports quite a lot, because it will be very quick to tell the user what is the order status. You can place different kind of colors, you can place different kind of icons, and so on. So we learn how do we create this whole SVG by ourselves. In the third method, in which we have to create our own SVG icon, we will start with Figma. We will create the shapes by ourselves. Then we will include some SVG icons, group them, and then create our SVG. For example, if we have to create an SVG icon like this, so we will start by creating shapes. We will start with an ellipse, let's say, and we will draw a random ellipse, and we will set the dimensions from here and lock the aspect ratio. Then let's copy it one more time. Something like this, right? And then we are going to align them. Now we will create an arrow. Okay, and we can also set the weight to 1. We can use a triangle arrow, for example. You're going to zoom in to make sure that it's exactly accurate. Then we will paste it again, and then we will move towards the right, copy this, paste it here. Okay, so the first part is done. Now we have to bring in the icons, but before we do that, let's also set the border line. So we select all of these, and then we have to set the stroke. So let's say we set it for a dark gray color. Okay, and then we will select them again, and let's say I want to create this one, this flow. Okay, so what I have to do is to import these icons. Now these icons, again, you can import it from SVG repo or any other website. So for example, if I want to write shopping, I'm going to see these kind of icons. Okay, so I can select any one of these. Then I can write box, or let's say package. I've got these photos of packages. Then in case if I want to get a truck, I can get these ones. And then if I want to get a tick mark, tick, and then I've got the tick mark. Okay, I have already downloaded these icons, so I'm going to import them. And for that, image, and then let's say I've got check mark, truck, box, and shopping. Open, and then just one click, and we will have all of these. What we have to make sure, if you remember that we downloaded these icons, I was saying that usually my practice is that I download it for 64 by 64. The first thing that we have to do is to lock the aspect ratio. Okay, so we are locking the aspect ratio here for all 4 of these. Now we have to fit them, and for that we have selected escape. Okay, we have selected 35 by 35. So let's say if I want to make it 16, it's very small, right? So let's say 20. Okay, so 20 looks fine, or maybe let's make it 22. Okay, this is fine. But as you can see that the lines are very thick. Now if you pay attention to this frame, and within the frame you have got this SVG. So you click on SVG, now you've got this weight. Now if you want to put it as 2, you will see that it's getting better. So let's say 1.5. So this one looks better. And what we're going to do is to bring it here and select this circle, this one, and then align them horizontally and vertically. It's in the middle. We are going to do the same with all of these. And now we have to set the colors. So for example, if I want to make this icon, I will select this. Second, I will select this. Second one, third one. All of them, I will make it some kind of blue. So let's say I want to choose this blue, whatever you want here, right? So once you have this color, once you have this color, you will copy this, you will paste it here, and then you will decrease the opacity. Yeah, it's something like this, or let's make it slightly darker. Okay, and now you have to select the SVGs. So this one, this SVG, and this SVG. Here we've got 3 different strokes. We will set them to FFF, the white color. Yeah, so let's make them slightly darker. 1, 2, 3, and let's make them 80. Yeah, okay. And then this one, it remains like this. So this is complete. What you can also do, I would suggest that in case if we remove the frame, so let me bring this out. I will delete the frame, this vector, that's fine, and this box. So I will bring this vector outside. I will delete the box, just trying to minimize the elements in my SVG. And then I've got this arrow, and then ellipses. Okay, so all of these, when we select, we are going to select them, right click, group selection. Once this is done, then what we have to do is to select it and then export it, export SVG and export group 3. All right, example for video, something like this. Okay, save. It's saved. I'm going to open this and I see that the SVG is present here. So what we are going to do is, again, we are going to go to the notepad and then we are going to edit the SVG. So now we are in the notepad and we can see that this is the SVG. How we are going to do is, what we are going to do is to select these double quotation marks, Control H, replace them with a single quotation mark, replace all. Once this is done, Control A, Control C, and then we go to the Power BI file. And what I'm going to do here is to create another measure and copy this, then enclose it in the double quotation marks, bring it down, and I'm going to say SVG underscore example equal to. Now I need to bring in that string that I told you about, which is always missing from ChatGPT, but that is required. So I will go to baggage icon, Control C here, Control V, ampersand, enter. This is done. And then what I'm going to do is set this to image URL, and then I'm going to bring it inside. So here we have it, but as you can see that the one that I created before, it has a slight padding at the top. So what you have to do is you have to copy this example, okay, Control C, and then you have to go to ChatGPT. Okay, so in ChatGPT we write, can you modify this DAX SVG measure this DAX measure for SVG so that the SVG is shifted by 10 pixels, and we say shifted downwards by 10 pixels. Do not change the SVG at all, only move it towards, only move it downwards. Okay, and then we copy the SVG. So SVG example, Control A, Control C, Control V, and let's see what happens. Okay, so what ChatGPT has given us is that it has given us this SVG code. However, it says after a few lines, it says continue the rest of the SVG content as is. But in the end, what you see is that it's finishing it by /G and /SVG. So what we have to do is to copy this code, and then we have to copy the remaining lines. But the main thing is what ChatGPT is explaining here, and that is to move the entire SVG downwards by 10 pixels. You can wrap the SVG content in a G group element, okay? And then you transform it by 0,10, which is you move it 10 pixels towards the bottom, and that's it. And apply this inside the SVG. So what it is doing essentially here is that it's including this line, and then before the SVG, it's closing the group element, okay? So we have to do the same here, is without copying all of this code or anything. What we have to do is to copy from here this line, okay? So we are going to enclose this and then space. So we have included this line, okay? And then we include this one again, and the last line, it should be something like this. Rather, we will remove this, okay? Once this is done, press enter, and now you will see that it has moved. However, we made a small mistake that we didn't increase the height. So we will go back. We will increase the height to 45 here and here, okay? And that's it. So I think the best thing is that we copy these two lines and this line, and then just take care of the double quotation marks, and then it should be fine. So once we are done with it, we have completed this icon. Now, if we want to place some kind of text to the right of this icon, we can write a simple code for SVG. And again, we can use ChatGPT to write the code. What we can write here is, could you write an SVG code consisting of text, or let's say which displays the text delivered. I want to use this SVG code in DAX in Power BI. Okay, and this is just a one-time job, because once you have this code, you can use it anywhere in any DAX that you want to work on. So now it has written this code. What we will do is that we will copy only this part, copy, and then we are going to go to example, and let's say if we place it here, let's see what happens. Okay, enter. And what we would see is that we can see that the text delivered, it's there. So now what we have to do is to play with the view box and the position of the text. So let's say we will increase it to 300, the width as well as the view box. Okay, and what we will do is that we knew that the previous width, it was 239. So let's say we start the text at x equal to 245. Okay, y, let's say we keep it for 20, and the font size, let's say if it's 15. Okay, so now it's here. As we can see that it's fine, but still it's not within the box. So now we will just like do a hit and trial to make sure that it fits the box. So let's say 325 here and 325 here. Now this is fitting inside the box. Maybe we will just adjust the Y. So let's say we do it for 22, right? And now it's slightly in the middle, or maybe 23. So this is just something that you have to do once for all of the icons, and then you will be just copy pasting and modifying all of them. In case if you want to change the font family, so you will simply type font dash family equal to Arial, let's say, okay, space, enter, and then you will see that it has changed to Arial. Again, you can change it according to your hex code. So let's say if I want to use dark gray, I can use it like that. So this is just one example. In fact, this is already shipped. So instead of writing delivered, I will write shipped. And this text, you can use it dynamically based on any kind of condition. For example, if it is ordered or packed or shipped or delivered, you can basically replace that text dynamically based on the status. So what you will do is that you can use any kind of variables where you will store the value, and then you can change that. Let me just give you a very quick example. For example, var text, if I say it's ordered, let's say, okay, the only thing that you'll have to change here is that you'll have to first you have to make sure that you are closing this, okay, twice, and then ampersand twice, space, and then in the middle you are going to place underscore text, and you remove this here, and here you are calling the variable. So in that statement you need to use return, so we will put return, and that's it. So we have got ordered here. In case if this is, let's say, example, you will have example, or you can use any kind of function or any kind of condition that you're using. Even like a very crazy example I can give is I write today, and you will see the date of today that is written here. So this is how you can create the SVG icons by your own self, and then you can make your visuals more intuitive, and you can be very innovative with the creation of these icons. Using the method that we have discussed in the video, I have created these SVG icons for all of the 4 statuses, and I can show you how I did that. Let's start with the one which is ordered, let's say. So we already learned the method, how we will create this kind of SVG DAX expression, right? Either for shipped or ordered, something like that. And once we are done with it, then we can simply create all of the 4 where we are copying the SVG only for this part. So in case if I talk about this one, packed, so what I did here is that I created this SVG, I exported that, and only this part, which is basically from here to here, this is something that I replaced. Otherwise this thing remained the same and this thing remained the same. And I also changed the status. So when it's packed, it's packed. After I created all of the 4 SVG expressions, I came to table view and I created a column where I'm saying that if the status, that is delivered, shipped, processing, or order placed, you have to use the expression accordingly. Okay, once this is done, and that's it, you simply come here, and in visualization you will bring in the SVG status. Now you can see the SVG status, right? So this is basically the column of the table that is working on the condition using these SVG expressions. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you.